In this video, Clare and Adam graciously lead us on a captivating tour of their remarkable garden. Over the past 3 decades, this couple's vision and diligence have transformed what was once empty farmland into a lush, shaded oasis, showcasing the beautiful results of their patience and hard work. How many planks can you make out of that, eh? And then we were asking,
right,
isn't it?
so
you know?
basically we have planted a few they call something else, red mahoganies in this garden.
Yeah.
This one was probably the last planted, probably about 10 or 15 years ago, and it is huge. I would say if I had planted it, I wouldn't have planted it quite so close to the cottage. A, because look at its roots are spreading out, and B, because it's got these big branches. It's grown so fast,
Yeah.
It's become a bit unbalanced. So you can see we've cut off some branches there.
Yeah.
But I
Did
mean,
those
look at
come
it.
down naturally, or did you actually
One
cut them
broke, and then we had to go and cut
Yeah,
it.
okay.
It's like that one there. There's one there. There's another one I can see over there, and there's another one by the pond.
Yeah.
That one was one of the first we planted. That one there.
Yeah.
Which is full size, wouldn't you say? I mean, you know, sort of size.
They can definitely get bigger.
Yeah.
You know, maybe in terms of height, it's almost reaching its maximum.
Yeah.
But you know,
In
I remember
terms
the
of weight.
ones along the road from the High Court.
Yes.
I never remember that, where the trunk
Yeah.
was
They're
huge, a massive.
Yeah, up
massive
from Long
trunk on
Acres.
it. Long Acres, sorry,
Yeah.
yes.
Part of this is the bar of water.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I
So it's
see.
grown very fast because it's been watered. Whereas that one over there wasn't watered.
Yeah.
And I think it's grown slower, but it's probably more of a balanced tree.
And probably stronger in terms of it
Yeah.
takes a lot longer
Yeah.
to produce the wood, and stronger wood
Yeah.
in that sense.
Yeah,
where
exactly.
In very
Yeah.
wet conditions, it'll probably
Yeah.
just grow. It doesn't have to worry about not wasting
No,
water.
no, exactly.
effectively.
So there's a wild mango there, Cordyla africana, which is actually it's a very lovely garden tree. Again, grows in the valley areas naturally.
Yeah.
The fruit is well loved by elephants, and it literally it's a wild mango. The flowers are really pretty. They're little orange flowers, and this tree, when it flowers, is full of sunbirds. And when the fruit comes, well, there are no elephants in this garden to eat the fruit, so we just rake them up and put them on the compost heap.
You don't eat them. Although I hear that the taste can be.
Yeah.
They call it the wild mango, but I think that's a bit of a misnomer, is
Yeah.
it maybe?
I think so.
How old is this? Because I just planted Cordyla at my place last year.
I would say it's probably 20 years old.
Okay.
Again, I probably wouldn't have put it quite so close, but anyway, it's okay here. And then
Well,
actually
yeah, it
these
hasn't
two.
quite overgrown the cottage to the
No,
same
it
extent
hasn't.
as
But
the
we have
papaya.
cut it. We've cut it back.
Yes, yeah.
But here are two Galpinii, and they've grown extremely fast. I mean, they've really gone up.
Yes.
We
But
could-
acacias are mostly like that. They are
Yeah.
fast-growing, pioneering
Yes,
species.
they are. And this one, it drops branches. So again, I wouldn't have it in a small garden context, because you'll tread on a thorny branch.
Yes. Which most acacias are very. Have you ever planted many albizzias? Kind of the thornless
Yeah. Yes.
options.
Yes, we can go. We've got some here.
Okay.
I don't know what.
Yeah, because that
variety.
is an option then for people if they don't want the thorns.
No.
Is an albizia.
It's an albizia. And
quite
actually,
useful.
there's some. We saw them this morning, didn't we?
Yes.
There's some really pretty, very fine leafed.
Yeah,
things.
Adianthofolia was
Yes.
the one that we
Yeah.
saw, and
Yes.
which I will guarantee is a beautiful tree
Yeah.
when it is grown as
Yeah.
well.
Here's a tamarind.
Tamarins, yeah.
Again, planted about the same time as the mango, wild mango.
And does it? Okay, I see a few fruit
Yeah,
from previous. and stuff
I
like
think
that.
it's just beginning to sort of do its thing.
Yes, yeah, they are notoriously slow growing
And
as
it
well.
does have that wonderful bark.
Yeah. And these and the beautiful kind of feathery
Yes,
foliage as
lovely.
well. You know, I think
Lovely trees.
more or less almost like on a drooping side with the branches and things. I do agree, a lovely, lovely tree. We've got one at our place, but it is got quite big now. And
Well, this one grew up because it was crowded out.
yeah.
It was too close to other trees. We've taken some trees out of here, and yeah. So, but now it's going up.
Yeah.
You see this tamarind?
What about it?
Well, it's growing very well.
Well, very slowly. Once.
Where did you collect the seed from? Because they're not Lower Zam.
I don't know, something like that.
Because you don't come across tamarind regularly. It's
No.
very specific areas in
Always
the end.
in sort of riverine areas,
Yeah.
and usually in gullies and things like that.
Yeah,
So,
because I've only come across it twice in my trips, and once was up this Luano Valley coming down there along that river system, and then up growing next to Lake Tanganyika, right on the lakefront and stuff like that.
there are quite a lot of them going down into the lower Zambezi.
Yeah.
They're in the gully systems down the side of the escarpment.
Yeah.
A bit like Baquetiodendron, same sort of habitat thing.
Yeah. Beautiful trees though when you
Yeah,
find
they are.
them. And
They're
stuff
lovely.
like
Yeah.
that. Very good garden specimen.
They like alluvial soil, so that,
Yeah. Yeah, they want something that's quite
Yeah.
deep.
They usually grow on termite mines, don't they?
often on
They
termite
can, yeah.
mines too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, not a common one that you would come across. You have to
No,
be
no,
in
no.
that right
Yeah,
habitat
absolutely,
and
yeah.
things like that. So, but a lovely garden specimen.
Yeah,
It does
yeah.
make really, really
Yeah,
good garden specimen.
And if it wasn't overpowered by this boo-boo fig, it'd be...
Let's move on to the boo-boo fig.
yeah.
Have you done the acacia?
Yes, we talked about the Galpinii.
Yeah. Sisyphus, nice Sisyphus there. Garden plant.
I am not a fan of Sisyphus whatsoever, you know. That's another one to plant along a fence line where you don't want people or animals coming through.
So here, the boo-boo fig. This is, we talked about it in the morning, didn't we?
We did, yeah, because it had some of those massive leaves.
Yeah.
What is the Latin name on the boo-boo fig, sorry?
It's Ficus Bubu.
Is it?
Ficus Bubu. And you see the fruit falling off. The fruit is on the branches up there.
Yeah.
All along the branches. Now, and this bark.
It is very strange actually for a ficus bark.
It's like it's got talcum powder on it.
Yeah. In the same way.
The first of the aerial
Lateral,
roots coming
yes.
Yeah. I suppose, yeah, old specimens will be supported by quite a few of these too, isn't it?
But it's the wrong place for it here. We've had to
I think it probably thinks it's in the right place, considering you got the cottage here and the pool over
The other
there.
interesting thing, I was sitting underneath it the other day and noticed a small wasp flying around the fruit.
Oh, did you?
So whether some wasp is suddenly, because the nearest natural occurrence of this is in the Shiri Valley.
So quite far from here,
a long
effectively.
way from here. So whether some other wasp has suddenly, identified it as a. Can you see any?
No, I don't see
no.
any seeds or
But
anything
we've
developing
managed to
here.
germinate them from.
Well, yeah, here,
So-
this one has been,
Yeah. And
Crushed and-
certainly the bats eat them.
yeah.
But I mean that's not going to help the germination.
No.
But
But we have germinated them, obviously,
Yeah,
because that's where we're growing them from.
But so maybe some wasp species, and we'll have to get Willa to come in and tell us what it is.
Yeah. And then he can go and
Yeah.
pick apart and dissect
Yeah,
each
no.
individual
But it's
fruit.
a remarkable tree,
I definitely think it needs quite a bit of space, though. This would be a fantastic
Yeah.
specimen tree to
Yeah.
put it somewhere where it can
absolutely, yeah.
develop and then kind of just show its natural spread. And but I can't get over this bark because we don't really have any figs in Zambia that have
No.
a bark like this, is
No.
it?
No, it's really
Stunning.
like sort of Indian.
Yeah.
Well, that's about 20 years. So this is the anyway. We've talked about the croton, and it's a lovely small, I would say, small umbrella-shaped tree for a garden, a small garden, and it has lovely dapple shade. This one is not typical because it's gone up through the other trees and it's formed a big canopy up the top.
It's competed. Now, how old is this, would you say?
Well, that's about the same as the
so
tamarind.
About 20 or so years old,
Yeah.
effectively. Given,
Yeah.
Or 20 years old.
20.
yeah, give or take.
Yeah.
But as you say, with all the competition, it's had to reach
Yeah,
and things.
it's gone up.
Do you grow any other croton species?
No.
Okay.
No, it'd be good to grow some megalobotrys. They don't do really well.
Well, I got some recently, so I'm, got my fingers crossed. We'll see.
Somebody else has got them, and they have managed to grow them. But I mean, it's really a low altitude.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a boggy plant, isn't it? I mean, it's more of a shrub than a tree.
I'll take a shrub as well,
No, I agree. But when we were doing the book, they thought, well, where's the tree? And the photograph was of a megalobotrys in front of some trees, and they said, well, we can't see the tree. So no, that's it in front. Yeah.
This here, just above Jonathan, is this a Euclea?
I was wondering, I've never managed to figure out what it is, but it could be a Euclea.
It looks to me very much like a Euclea, yeah. Little kind of bell-shaped white flowers.
Yeah.
I think it might be a Euclea then, effectively.
Because there are not too many Eucleas around here, right?
No. Divinorum, Schimpery, and I think Natalensis are the only three we have.
Mostly fairly dry sort of area species.
But even within that dry area, they'll be on the edges of termite mounds and places like that where they...
Good soils.
Yeah. They want dry, but they also want fertile at that stage, isn't it?
How slowly grow these pink jacarandas grow?
So this
here,
pink jacaranda here.
Actually, I wouldn't have even really recognized if it wasn't for the bark.
No, that's right.
Essentially.
So this is a pink jacaranda, and it's really slow.
How
This
is this
one's
also
certain-
20 years old, roughly?
No, I think we did it a bit about 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I would actually say for most of our trees that this size in 10 years is actually not pretty bad. Does it flower for you yet?
No.
Not yet. Okay.
I'm hoping it might do it this year.
We had a pink jacaranda outside our gate, which has sadly just died, I think.
I remember that one, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a fairly large one too,
Yeah, it
if
was,
I remember
yeah.
correctly.
We actually saved that from the Chinese. They were going to bulldoze it.
Along the road.
Sort of chained ourselves to take this tree out.
Stand by you.
So it's,
Yeah. And then we just popped down to the pond just to look at some, there's kind of riverine species, but of course we haven't got a river here. So this here is the Syzigum
Gerardia. It's exotic.
Is that
This one
exotic?
here.
South Africa.
This one, yeah. It's from
I was
South
wondering what it was initially.
Africa. But this one's a Syzigum caudatum, I think, isn't it?
Yes.
Not very good at my Syzygiums.
Well, the easiest way, Chordatum has the chordate base to the leaves.
Oh, right.
And Guineense doesn't. And usually Chordatum actually is without the petiole as well. It comes right to the leaf. And I see this has started flowering for you.
Yeah.
So do you get fruits from this every year?
Fruits.
Oh, lovely. I suppose the birds are quite happy about
Trouble's
that.
about to happen.
And then and behind here we've got the crabias.
It's just watching.
Yeah.
Behind here we've got the crabia, which I think came from Mike Bingham. It's a leguminous thing, but it's the flower is like a pea. It's absolutely really nicely scented.
There is actually some flowers that are
Yeah.
there. They're small. We won't be
Yeah.
able to easily catch them on
No.
the video, but you can just make out that it's starting to flower this time of year. Now I remember Mike having these, so they would grow outside of pond areas as well.
Yes, he's got one on his plot.
Yeah.
It's actually the photograph in the book.
Yeah. And now I think that was close to the original house that they had there, just
that's right, yeah.
behind it, which I don't know if it got extra water. So, because I know where ours is, like I planted a seedling
Yeah.
from Mike, and I don't give it any extra water, and it's done really well actually. It's almost 2 meters tall now. I probably have to wait a number of years for it to flower, but
the insects love this, talking of
Yeah.
insects, and chameleons and things, love it.
Yes, I suppose wherever the insects are, the chameleons will be, isn't it?
And then here we've got a Acacia. You know, again, these were planted at the same time as the Crabia and the Acacia, and there's a Cibriana in there. And they're all planted together at the same time because there was nothing here 20 years ago.
And the Acacia is showing the nice colours of its new growth
Yes,
as well, isn't it?
It is, it's beautiful.
Did we plant that Siberiana?
Well, it either came up on its own or...
I think it was on its own.
Yeah.
I don't think very many people plant Siberiana. You just let it come up, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah,
You have Syzigum guineensi.
We had a few, but they've been sold around. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I was mortified because they're not so easy to germinate, and they.
Well, we had one come up on our plot just naturally, which was quite nice. It's in the goat's enclosure. They've eaten the bark, but it's still living. And last year it started flowering and fruiting for the first time, which I'm very keen at. So I'll save some seeds for you this year when it does again.
Yeah. We're just doing a trip down to the Kafui and get some.
Because they are, they're a lovely tree, and I love them for the use of the fruits, but the evergreen nature of it is
and they're beautiful
stunning,
trees,
yeah.
and they're just stunning.
Yeah. And the wildlife potential of them is huge as well,
absolutely,
isn't it?
and this is the Albizia tanganensis, paper bark Albizia, and it has this peeling bark. Again, peeling bark.
The bark's just peeled off. Yeah.
It's already peeled off, is it?
Yeah.
And the Marula.
And then Marula is here. I don't know how old that is. How old is that?
It would make
15 plus.
very difficult one to germinate effectively. I have a hard time.
Yeah.
I've even actually given up on most of the nut trees because it's just
so difficult to grow.
yeah. We saw a lot of mungungo up near the lake.
Did you?
And we can try and get some, well, I know Will got some of the seeds. I don't know, you can find out from him if he's had any success germinating them.
Oh, I see, yeah.
But otherwise, people had talked a lot about just doing truncheons. So I think that might be the easiest way to get mungungo growing effectively.
I must get some seeds from Lochinvar and no, can't. Pippi, you're not helping. Actually, Jonathan did carefully.
Yeah, they're very...
And then we have
Dogs do not...
We're doing the
There we
Duikerberry.
Oh, really? The Scotsman's rattle. That's another kind of rare tree, though, effectively. You don't see it growing a lot, just this straight one here.
The only place I've actually seen it is in Zambia, on the sandhill there.
Oh, really?
So we've just...
Ian has one tree on the whole plot.
Is that right?
And he already knew where it was. It was up near where GRI used to be based.
Yeah.
And he's always trying to get more, but it's not working for him.
Well, we've just collected a whole lot of seeds. I was coming down from a trip to Kasanka and we saw them, so we jumped through somebody's fence and grabbed a whole lot.
It is a stunning tree.
Yeah, no, they're lovely, yeah.
But yeah, no, they're not easy.
No.
Not easy.
So we'll see if we can get some germination out of them.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
So we got the baobab down there and another Stoechelia there. I'm not sure we need to go down there. And then we've got the Galpinii and Livingstonii there.
Yes, you're very standing at attention, Garsonia.
Yes.
And the Balanites. Got a Balanites there too. Just completely out of context.
Where did you collect that one from?
I think it came from Nuangwa or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It was all over the place in some of the areas around Tondwa.
Was it? Yeah.
Always on these xerophytic termite mounds, effectively.
Amazing.
And just a beautiful thing. But again, taken out of its context, I don't know if you'd ever get that same kind of beauty of it, effectively. Very interesting area up there with how dry it is. Now, you've planted all of these for interest's sake. Something like the Balanites is not going to be an easy garden tree.
No.
What are kind of the best garden trees out here, would you say?
So I think the croton.
The croton,
the trichelia we said this morning. The dombea, which is here. Erythrina, slow but is pretty. For interest's sake,
Tremas, I think.
Yeah, you're still selling the tree mat. And the ghost trees and things like that, is it?
Yeah, specimens, yeah.
Yeah. Especially those that they will add that kind of interest into a time of year where if it's dry, there's not too much going on.
That tree's quite spectacular from there. If we just go that up there.
Yeah.
If we go up there.
I love how your Acacia is essentially quite tiny but looks old, effectively. Feeling like it's almost bonsai, isn't it?
Really, yes, I think it probably is.
It's probably age growing on the rock.
Yeah, everything around here is very dry.
Stressed up. But it keeps going. Every year we think it's died, and then it sort of,
Yeah, we got some more down the bottom which have done better.
Though. You either find it growing in areas where it's gotten to a massive tree, or you find it in an area where it's like this, where it's almost like bonsai. There's very little in between, is there?
And funny, I mean, on the escarpment, it grows in these really, really dry spots. And it seems to be fine. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful tree when it's first leafing out too.
Yeah.
And it looks like you've got caterpillars that are eating the bark on there. Yeah. For which I have the same on my baobab at home, actually. But that you don't worry about it. Choose the bark and then.
Yeah, it's seriously chewed last year, actually. Do you remember?
Yeah.
All right. So here we're under a very nice Duikerberry.
Yeah.
And you were saying that this is original to the plot when you came.
This was here when we arrived 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was already a substantial tree. So this must be at least 60 years old, if not longer, or older than that. And it's a favoured haunt for hornbills and African goshawks and just about anything, actually.
That like to eat the fruits and
or eat the things that eat the fruits.
Oh yes, fair enough, yeah.
And,
but I will say this is probably the largest and nicely spread tree of pseudolachnostylus that I've ever seen. Rarely do you ever get them with such a nice spread and height.
No, it is spectacular. It's a gorgeous tree, it really is. Yeah. And this time of the year when the leaves change colour, they go from green to yellow to orange to red, and it's just really.
You get a lovely fall kind of display.
Yeah. It's a
fall spring display at that stage, isn't
exactly,
it? Exactly. But. Again, this is not an easy one to grow.
No. We've never managed to germinate this one. Not a garden plant as you want
unless it's already existing in your garden.
Already there,
yeah.
But birds and animals and everything just love them if they're there.
Yeah, so. Very, very good for wildlife. Yeah. And where you do find it, you usually find it quite commonly. It might be hard for us to grow, but it grows well in nature.
Yeah.
Because you usually find it in quite profusion in woodlands. And then
we move on to this Erisrhina here, which is just coming into flower. Unfortunately it's dying, but that tree is also well over 40 years old, I think.
I would almost guess even more than that, actually, based on the size of the trunk.
We know it was planted in about when, Claire? 1950, something like that.
That would make it 70
years old. So
it's putting on a fabulous display for even though it's on its way out, maybe.
Now the story with this is that it's actually a Brazilian species.
Is it?
Yeah, and I think Mike even sort of thought that might be the case. It looks very like our one here, but
it is quite similar. Just from afar you'd think that it is.
The man that planted that from a lucky bean, it was Donald Fluck, who was the brother of Doris Day.
Really? The singer?
An actor. And
who lived here, not Doris Day.
Donald Fluck lived here and was an accountant, or no, lawyer. Anyway, whatever. And he used to come when he, just after we moved in here, he used to come and just sit in the garden. And he told me that he actually planted that tree from a lucky bean.
Oh wow.
Which he picked up.
Yeah, so this is...
before the light goes on the flowers.
Yeah. This is approximately 20 years old as well. And this is Quincaloba here.
That's less than... No, that's not more than 15, I'd say.
Oh, okay.
Which just shows you can grow trees fast here.
Yes. Isn't it?
That's a metre a year.
And it's
at the beginning, and then it thickens out.
Yeah. but it's this fantastic, you know,
Yeah.
smooth bark. Again, it does produce that bloom,
Yeah, that's
as with the Bubu
Yeah,
fig there,
yeah.
effectively.
really,
Almost like a sunscreen for
yeah,
itself,
it is,
isn't
yeah.
it?
Well, it is often it's a red bloom, and then it's
Yeah, yeah, you can get it on your hands. I planted this a number of years ago, so I think mine will take a little bit of time to catch up to yours, but I think also being able to enjoy it as it's growing and
Yeah.
see it, you know, gradually get up to size
Yeah.
is one of those kind of beautiful things about
Because
the
even if
trees.
it's only 1 meter, it still stands out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the leaves are enormous, so it's
Yeah.
really spectacular when it's in full leaf. It's a
And then there's,
Okay, so the flowers have just finished and you're getting the
it's
seeds starting to
seeding.
form.
Yeah.
So does this actually give you many seeds?
yeah.
Well, this is the best seeding it's done.
Oh, okay.
It seeded last year, and I think the year before that. But we've never had seeds like this before.
You know, because it's a real problem now. That you go down the escarpment and none of them left.
Yeah,
There
you're
still
saying.
remains. There's still a few flowers up there. You know, just on the lower end of that flowering stalk there.
Okay, yeah. Most
the-
people
the
will
red-
never see the flowers, though. They'll always be
They're
out of
all
your.
up. And they are. I mean, when they're in flower, I mean, it's lovely. It really is. It's really spectacular flower.
But it's more of the color you
Yeah.
get from a distance
Yeah.
rather than it actually
Yeah.
being something
Yeah.
that's bright
Yeah.
and large and showy in that sense, isn't it? It's actually the peeling bark that
Yeah.
still remains on the branches,
Yeah.
though, that to me is the most showy
Yeah.
feature of
Yeah.
some of the tree. It is a stunning one.
And there's its sister, which is a different species behind it, which is, you can see the similarities. It's a,
With the 3 stems coming
Yeah,
up
yeah,
there,
yeah.
effectively. And that is Africana.
that's Africana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has a slightly more kind of mottled bark. It's not only one color in the
No,
same
no.
with,
Yeah.
with Quinkaloba, but it's got that patches of red and white and
Yeah.
different colors in that as well.
And the seeds are incredibly itchy.
Is it? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I collected seed of that in Eastern Province and have grown it. So
Yeah. They grow quite easily, actually. They've got a beautiful seed. The actual
yeah.
seed is a stunning thing. But if you need to get in, a bit like these ones, you need to get in before the borers get to them.
yes,
So-
the cotton stainer
Yeah,
beetles
yeah,
will
yeah,
completely destroy
yeah.
most of them.
And
Not
then
the
the
borers,
domain
this,
behind
no.
it.
Yeah, that kind of give
the-
you the nice
Yeah.
flower contrast with your reds of the erythrina.
Erythrina's there.
And the,
The
And
dombea.
there's a brydelia flower.
brydelia. Well, leafing, yeah.
Leaves in there.
Yeah.
And a trema.
So you can actually get quite a good color spectrum
Yeah.
with actually more foliage
Yeah,
than you
yeah.
can with the
Absolutely,
flowers
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff.
Especially
which is-
this time of the year.
Yeah. But I think, you know, with dombea, it's so easily recognizable this time of year. Going down and you see
Yeah.
this kind of cloud of white
Yeah.
in a tree,
Yeah.
you know what that is immediately. It's a
And
dombea.
the good thing about dombea is the flower actually remains for quite a while, and even when it dries out, it's still quite spectacular.
Yeah.
So it's most of our flowers drop quite quickly, and if you don't look twice, you've missed them.
Yeah. Whereas it lasts for
Yeah,
quite a while.
yeah,
And they can get to quite large trees.
Yeah, I mean
you
that's
know.
not too bad actually. That's
Was this one that you planted as well?
we
Yeah.
planted that too.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. And again, 15 to 20 years or so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I should think that. Yeah.
Because we've got 2 at our place of mature size, and they are yay big. I'd hate to think of how old they are. They're
They
quite
must
old.
be really old. Yeah.
And it does seed itself quite a bit around, which I'm very particular about letting certain volunteers stay versus taking out others,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I don't want it to spread to the same extent.
No, sure. Yeah.
But it is a fantastic one. I've always wanted to grow microphylla,
Yes,
Greta
yeah.
microphylla up.
Yeah.
So you
Oh,
get
no,
the
so you
red
get
and
the red.
the white at the same time.
That's a
effectively.
neat idea. Isn't
Reading
it?
my correct, but I
Yeah.
don't think they flower at the same time.
I've seen Combretum microphyllum flowering in that, you know,
Have you?
Yeah.
August-September period.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll try it.
But I don't necessarily think you'd guarantee that they're going to
No.
flower at the
I mean,
same
the erythrina and the dombea are a classic pairing. 'Cause that's what if I'm doing a garden, I'll put an erythrina and 2 or 3 dombeas together.
Yeah, just give that kind of pop and show. Now, but this is the indigenous erythrina here.
Yeah,
isn't it?
that is,
okay.
yes. That came on its own. And then the brydelia, I don't think we planted, and I don't think
Yeah.
we planted the trema.
No, we didn't. No.
Oh, so here's a trema
Yeah,
of
yeah.
proper size then too, which is nice.
Being shoved out by everything else.
Yeah. Hey, it's survival of the fittest,
Yeah,
you know, no matter what.
Well, you don't mess with the Brydelia.
No, that's true.
Or the erythrine. I mean, erythrine is pretty strong.
Yeah, it is. That's a pretty potent tree, that.
Yeah, so the trema has been flowering too.
Yeah.
Again,
It's not a very
Very-
significant flower, so
No,
you
not
don't
at
really
all.
notice it. Yeah.
No.
although the fruit is that a fruit or is that a gall?
Fruit goes into little black balls, doesn't it?
It's usually, yeah,
I think that's a gall.
a gall,
then.
I think. Yeah.
Of which it is very important as well.
Yeah,
You know, the insects
Yeah.
require and rely on it as well. Yeah, maybe I should incorporate some of these in the garden as well.
That's a lovely tree. It really is. I mean, it's really
It's definitely
underrated.
something for architecture.
yeah.
In the end, isn't it?
It's got a lovely dappled shade in it.
All right, well, thank you very much, Claire. Thank you, Adam.
Pleasure.
Lovely to see what some
Yeah.
of these trees can look like with, you know, time and space to
Yeah.
get to proper size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think one of the sort of final things is that if you're trying to put these into a garden, a new garden, is bear in mind, you know, how they're going to grow up.
Yeah.
And so, as Claire was saying, if you can match what do you call the thing, Gombears with an erythrina to get that colour contrast.
Yeah.
Or maybe the trema in a place where you want to have sort of dappled shade
And then there are some trachelia all around the car park.
Yes, which will give you
gives us-
shade
gives
all
us
year.
shade all year there.
yeah. So
I
just,
think, yeah, it's one of those things of just do a bit of research
Yeah.
and find
Yeah.
what tree what you need,
Yeah.
and then find the tree
Yeah.
that will best fit
Yeah.
that need.
and
Effectively.
what sort of garden you want. It's, you know,
Yeah.
and plan it out and spend a bit of time doing that, and instead of, you know, knee-jerk stuff and then
Yeah.
realize, oh,
I
shouldn't
mean,
have done
our
that.
Yeah,
planting has
or-
been knee-jerk.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people's is
Yeah.
effectively.
Yeah.
You know, when my parents built our place, they left a Borassus palm right behind our garage, and decades later, what did it do?
Yeah.
It dropped its coconuts through the roof, and it was a terrible choice to have to
Yeah,
make a
yeah.
decision. But we
Yeah.
ended up cutting it down because
Yeah, you
what's
couldn't-
the
yeah.
alternative? We can't move the garage easily.
yeah, no,
That
exactly.
would have been an alternative, but the cost of that
Yeah.
versus taking it
Yeah.
down. Now, luckily, we have seedlings of it popping up
Yeah.
elsewhere in the garden,
Yeah.
which are far away from the house,
Yeah.
thankfully. But yeah, you know, I think the one thing definitely of being able to understand what your needs are,
Yeah.
and then figuring out the tree that will best fit that
Yeah.
that set of needs,
Yeah.
effectively. But thank you very much for the
Well,
tour.
thank you very much. Yeah,
Thank you.
Great.